Hello. So I wanted to make another video. This time, talking a bit about thoughts I've been having about why male, isolation happens. It's one of these kind of videos I think about, men's issues, which is, I think it's probably an important subject. So I'm going to say my piece on that in terms of why I think it happens, why men sometimes fall through the cracks, or certain guys do. And I don't know what it is specifically, or universally why, but I can just speak for myself and why it happened to me. And I think, at least for me, I always wanted like a creative career, and so I was trying to get into filmmaking and acting and all this stuff, and it's like I ended up wasting so much time pursuing this interest. It was an interest, but it really wasn't a good idea to pursue it as a career. I think that was a main problem, for me at least, it was misguided in terms of what kind of jobs I wanted to go for. And I think that is what caused me all sorts of problems, because culturally I wasn't suited for that kind of area anyway. Media, as you know, the whole media kind of area is very woke and liberal and very fake, and I've always kind of had difficulty like going along with that and not just saying what I think. If I think it's important to say, I'll just say it, even if it's not necessarily wise to say it in my kind of situation. For example, if I'm on, like, I don't know, in an interview, I'll say something, or like I'm on probation, I'll say something that may be true and may not be unfair or crazy. It's just it might get me in trouble with certain people, and I think that's it. Some people just don't want to. You're not talking to your friends, are you, at work? You're talking to a competitor, and unfortunately, like, I just think, unfortunately, people come after you, so anyway, I think it was a combination of things for me. The choice of my career, and not really thinking of a serious career kind of to pursue, and at the same time, like, a lot of the work environment, not just in media, is very feminized, and that sort of isolates you as well, like the kind of fakeness and the everything's fine kind of culture, and where nothing serious is ever discussed, or you can't ever say anything that it's very, like I say, very politically correct, and you just have to go along with it and pretend that everything's fine. Otherwise, like, you're going to get in trouble, and that's all I'm going to. So it's a combination of not choosing the right career, and also the feminized kind of work environment that just doesn't work with me, at least. And I think if I'd known what I should have gone for, or if I'd known what would have suited me better in terms of a proper job / an environment that I would have been able to been well suited to, it would have been probably coding, frankly, because from what I can tell, coding is I'm pretty good with computers and stuff, and at the same time, it's a sort of male dominated area, so I just think that I would have been less kind of stuck amongst people who have daggers in their smiles, if you like. It's just, I just think that it would have been a less feminized environment. I blame feminism a lot, like a lot of guys do, for a culture that I just didn't fit in with. I never fit into that sort of culture, that sort of office blue pill culture. And that's all I can say about it. I can't be. But yeah, anyway, my point is actually that it wasn't just me, right? So I didn't fit in with the culture, but it's also not that I didn't I didn't make an effort. So I did. Like, when you don't have a job, right? Obviously, it's difficult to like be social. At least it was for me, because you just lose confidence in yourself, and so you end up not talking to your friends as much, not calling them up as much. You don't ask any girls out on a date because you're an unemployed guy, and that's it. And so you just end up going into a negative feedback loop where you're not socializing, and you're just becoming more and more of a recluse. And that's basically what happened. And I started breaking out of it when I retrained in graphic design and motion design, and I started applying to jobs, having freshly come out with a new diploma, again in the wrong career, because it's a creative field, and I just think it's just wrong for me. But anyway, and I was getting somewhere, and I ended up getting a job I got some freelance jobs, and then I ended up getting a job in Westminster, working in politics and government and all this stuff. And that was during the start of the pandemic. And I was doing well, and I was doing fine. And I still kind of got on people's nerves, at least for the first few years, but I survived. Yeah, I definitely had run-ins with people, because I just hate the culture again. Like, I can't stand it, and I can't help but express disdain for it. And that just rubs people the wrong way, and so it gets me in trouble. But anyway, it's not like I go around saying I was just being a jerk. It's just the odd comment here and there winds people up. And yeah, I think so. After that, I got a job in the civil service, and it's at that point that I was still on probation, and I got basically I got kicked out. But I got kicked out with basically as an excuse. So it's not that I think in that job I was probably been on the best behaviour that I have been in any other job, really, where I've just tried to be as normal, if you like, as possible, as normally as I can possibly muster. And what happens is I was at a disadvantage anyway, because I had two female managers, and the second female manager started after me, actually. So at first I had a kind of full sense of security, even though my line manager was basically a Muslim DEI hire. She was a first generation immigrant. And so it's already a dodgy situation. I really shouldn't be. I don't think it's a good situation to be in, for someone like me anyway, or anyone. I don't think any of the white straight guys, if I put it that way, would have enjoyed being in my situation. Anyway, it got worse as soon as the second girl joined, because they immediately formed a coalition, and it was just gossip central after that. And I think it's just there's nothing I did. There's only one thing I said to the girl. I said, I don't see the point to this particular work, because she just literally invented this work and given it to me, and I was just I don't see the point to it, and I don't think I should do it. And that got her hating me for ages. And the other girl, she hated me permanently from there on in, really. But the other girl, the Muslim girl that was my line manager, she took advantage of that, and she just started making stuff up to basically get me kicked out. So she'd write up these probation reviews, all these complaints that she didn't mention before. She'd just pretend like everything was fine during while I was there working, but during the probation review, she'd suddenly come up with all these complaints and say, well, you said this and this was offensive, and you said that and that was offensive, and you said and you made us feel this, that way, and you said I thought I did, I thought that what was it that she accused me of saying? Yeah, I said to the girl, I thought I was doing that, and that was apparently offensive and rude, right? And actually it wasn't. I did that because I legitimately thought I was going to do that work. She actually reallocated it to someone else without saying anything to me. And she announced it in the meeting without saying anything to me. That's why I said. So that's the thing. You can't even communicate with someone directly without them claiming that you're, being offensive. Any kind of direct, communication is seen as like, yeah, I think I was seen as some sort of right-wing zealot, right? Because I'd say something that was straightforward, right? That was not just a question. You just ask a question, and then you get accused of being rude. And so that was it. It's just it was a constant accusations and negativity and like trying to piss me off. And it was like working. It was definitely pissing me off, but I was being as polite as possible, and nothing worked. Like I got kicked out in the end. But yeah, no, that to me shows that it's not just me. After that experience, I can tell it's not just my personality that's the problem. It's the entire culture that's the problem, where some DEI hire can make up some bullshit to do what she wants to do anyway, to justify what she wants to do anyway. What she wanted to do anyway was kick me out, because she's just a racist fucker. That's all I'm going to say about her. So yeah, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So why do men become isolated? I think it's just because you don't have that, ability to put on the charm. Or it's not that you don't have the ability to do it. You do. You just want to communicate directly, and sometimes you try and be a bit more frank, and people choose to be offended by that. I think that is the problem. And if you are like, if you do go over the top, then fine. At least communicate that. At least say that this is what I don't like, and please be more polite, right? Or I didn't like this the way you said this. Not just not mention that, but complain about bunch of random other stuff that has no relation really. And it's just basically avoiding the issue and lying to get rid of someone. So yeah, and it was worse than that. That Muslim girl was evil in what she did, because not only did she twist the truth and spin a narrative that wasn't true, she also flat out lied. She also flat out made stuff up. There were scenarios that she described that she kept deliberately vague. Like she said in this final review before I got kicked out, she was saying, oh, he refused to, what was it, listen when he was told no. I don't know what that was implying, and she was asked by multiple people, including the union rep that I had at the time, saying, well, what exactly, can you specify what it was? And she said, no, I don't have to. So she refused. She made that up. She couldn't specify because nothing like that actually happened. Nothing close to that had ever happened. She basically made that up. Nothing, no interaction was I ever told no for anything. I don't know what she was trying to imply, that I was making an advance or I was bullying someone. It was literal fiction. She literally sat down and somehow justified to herself that she could say this. It's just total, it's so dishonest. But yeah, that's it. The culture of dishonesty yeah, and that's basically, for whatever reason, hasn't jived well with me. And if I'd gone for a better career where I could just, it was in demand and I just focused on building that skill, I would have been fine. But because I was focused on getting a creative career, it's that in combination with that creative caused me all sorts of problems and caused me all this unemployment that I'm facing. Although, yeah, that I'm back in again, So yeah, it's you can avoid the falling through the cracks like I did if you obviously, get a proper career with creative. There's nothing wrong with being a creative. It's actually perfectly respectable career in my opinion. It's just you just become so disposable, and in this environment where there's actual discrimination against you for who you are, Like, it's even worse. So you just put yourself in the firing line and hope like that they'll miss, and you know they're not going to miss. You're a single target. So that's that. That's why I became isolated, you know, and that's why other men, I think, become isolated, just for those. It's a kind of cultural thing where you don't go for that obvious career path. You try, yeah, and you end up in a sort of feministy, female-dominated environment, and you get discriminated against, and you don't get a second chance, and then when you do, you get fired again. You know, that sort of thing. That's why it happens. I think that some men like don't fit in with the culture, and they're not aware of what the problem is. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Hope you like video. Cheers for watching.